Why don't you tell me about growing up and learning that your dad was a legendary Glyn Johns and had done all these great records? Which one was your favorite out of all of those? And what is the thing that you take away from your father's work?
Oh my God. So there's like three parts to that. So like growing up around it, like Dad's, I think we touched on this when we tried to do this before, but like Dad is very humble about what he's done and doesn't make a big deal out of it, doesn't court any kind of accolade or any of that stuff, you know. And like I think I was telling you that like, the majority of his like platinum and gold discs that he's got, of which there are obviously many, all hang in his garage rather than in the house, because he just doesn't like. He has one in his office.
His interior designer didn't put him up on the wall for him like me.
I think it's more my stepmom as well. Like I think she thinks it's a bit ostentatious. But he did use that. I mean, he's got a couple, and there's one in his office which you can't see now, but that is the for the best of the Eagles, which is the best, which at the time was the best-selling album of the 20th century, which is obviously pretty fucking amazing. But yeah, so growing up around, I mean, obviously I knew that I was very lucky and, you know, very privileged and very, you know, growing up around, we had a studio recording, like Dad's recording studio was at our house in like, we lived on like a big farm, like big farm land. And Dad had converted the stable block from the farm into like a studio and an apartment for bands to stay in. So, you know, I was constantly around people making music, which was incredible. And that was like, when you're a kid and that's your norm, you obviously know that you're lucky, but you don't really know that there's a lot that's different to that. And it wasn't until I got to university and I started dating a guy who was obsessed with like the 60s and 70s and like all of the stuff that Dad had done in that era, like, you know, The Clash and Led Zeppelin and the Stones and all of that good stuff. He started, you know, sort of being like, you need to listen to this and you need to appreciate like your family's legacy, because this is insane that you don't really like know anything, like not that I know, but I'd never like, I guess I'd never sought it out. And then obviously once I started learning about like just what he had done and the impact that those records have had, and like certainly on stuff that I listen to now, like at the time, and like being a teenager in the UK, obviously late in the 90s, Oasis and Blur were obviously the big bands. So, and like the impact that the majority of what Dad has done like on those bands is fucking huge. So that was pretty wild. And then, yeah, once I started learning about it, obviously I'm incredibly proud of everything that he's done. I'm incredibly proud to be his daughter and, you know, be part, you know, not be part of that legacy. I'm not part of that legacy, but like, you know, be related to it, I guess. The favorite album.
Yeah. So like out of all the stuff, because I know, like you just said, it's, just so you know, too, it's hard to be retrospective on any of that, by the way, even if you're Glyn, you could probably attest to that. Like, I don't even have half the accomplishments that your father does. But for me, like, just in the last couple of years, I'm like sitting at home going, wow, I have done some pretty cool shit in my life already. But you don't think of it while you're doing it at all. Like, it's not a thought. So for you to grow up in that, I could obviously see how you just be like, yeah, not until I got a little bit older into my adult years and started being retrospective on how I grew up and what my father's stuff meant. I mean, you just nailed it. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me that you wouldn't think of it that way. No,
and I like Pete Townsend from The Who gave me a piano for my 5th birthday, right?
Jesus.
Which is fucking amazing, right?
That's a hell of a birthday present.
It was just Uncle Pete giving me I was 5, it's a piano, I can make loads of noise of it. Like,
Uncle Pete giving you a piano on your 5th birthday. That is...
But like that, yeah. But to me, like it sounds obnoxious and awful from my perspective right now. But like, no, it sounds fantastic. At the time, like you're a kid, you're 5, you don't know, And it's funny, I bumped into Pete at the Classic Rock Awards in like it must have been 2013 or 2014, and I went up to him and I introduced myself and. It's like you will probably definitely not recognise me, but I'm Glyn's daughter, and you gave me a piano when I was 5. He was like, "Oh my God, Charlie!" And like it was really sweet that he remembered, and like, "Oh my God, did you ever, did you play the piano?" And I was like, "I tried to learn for a bit, but it wasn't, whatever." But that was really sweet, and cool that I had that moment. Oh my God, sorry, Jesus.
What are you apologizing for? We're good.
Jesus, that's so loud. Sorry.
No.
My phone was ringing.
We didn't even hear it on our
hear
end.
it.
No, we didn't hear it.
I was like, shit, you can hear it.
And we have ears. We're, you know.
I know why. I thought maybe it would pick up or whatever because it was whatever. No. Anyway, yes. So that was really nice. And then in terms of my favorite record, I mean, I think I really, really, really love the first Eagles record. Like the Eagles vocal harmonies do something to my like physical being that I can't quite put my finger on, but like it's just one of the best sounds ever. Like those like 4 or 5 part harmonies,
so good.
Like I don't know what it is, but like, I could listen to that all day. And then obviously have to shout out Led Zeppelin because I think the impact of what they started as a band on the majority of the music that I work on now cannot be denied.
Not to mention the stereo drums, known as the Glyn Johns effect now. So,
yep. But I'm a big fan, and then like the early Stone stuff he did, like fucking amazing. Like it's really difficult to pick one because he's got such a diverse body of work. Like he's worked on so many different styles and different genres. Like there would be different things I would pick for different moods,
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah. But I think if I have to single something out, it would probably be Led Zeppelin or the first Eagles record. Those are my two.